Are you in the mood for some plant-based, flavorful Indian food and you just don't want to spend that money? Well, we've got you covered with today's video. We're making some naan bread from scratch with the help of the kids, of course, and this delicious, creamy curry that goes perfectly together.
If you're craving for Indian food, you just have to make this. Just make it at home. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's so easy to make. It's so flavorful. Make it at home. So much cheaper. Today we're going to start off with some naan bread, homemade naan. Now you could definitely do like garlic naan. There's all sorts of ways to make naan. So today we're just going to make a very, very simple naan. And to do this, we're going to use our sandwich bread recipe. That's right, you heard it right. We're going to make it so simple. Actually, we're not even going to measure it, but I mean, you can definitely go check out our bread recipe. But basically, I'm just going to add some water and some yeast and flour, and we're going to let that sit and get it ready to be rolled. Then we can work on the curry. So in a large mixing bowl, we're going to add some water. So we just have about 3 cups of water here or so. Oh, careful, Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah.
Okay, that's 3 cups. Then we're going to get some yeast. So all you're going to do is just sprinkle a little bit on. Keep going. Okay, we're just going to have just enough yeast just to cover the water. And then we're going to do the same with the sugar. Okay, you can put maybe like okay, that's too much. This is a really, really simple recipe. We're just going to put everything into a bowl. Okay, that's too much. Half of that. And then we're mixing it all up and then just letting it sit. Okay, now
You can use that spoon to serve.
no, Mercy, go use the other spoon. We are using a mixture of home ground spelt flour for some nuttiness, and then we have just some regular unbleached organic all-purpose flour. This makes it really nice and airy, so that's what we're going to use. For today, I'm actually not really going to measure. We're going to just add enough flour just to make a dough. So I've got I'm probably going to do about 2 cups of the spelt. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3. It's okay. Oh, and then maybe some oil if you're okay with that. I'm going to add some oil as well. We may need a little bit more, so I'm going to leave it out. We're going to add a touch of oil. Now you can kind of tell that it's very sticky, so we're going to add some more flour. That's how we know. Okay. Let me see. Okay, that's about right. So now we're going to switch to hands.
Oh, no. Yes.
How do you do this?
No.
Correct. Good job. And get all the flour onto the wet parts, okay? Yep, good job. Get all that flour. Yep. Yep. You kind of have to like scoop it and put it onto the wet parts. Good job. All right. Now, Mercy, you're in charge of getting all of the Hulk fingers, yeah? Okay, put it in. Mercy, you're gonna get all of the sides scraped, okay?
Mercy, just get all the stuff off my fingers. Do it. This is Sandman fingers.
Sandman?
Yeah.
Where's Sandman from, Isaiah?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Isaiah.
Okay, go wash your hands well. Now, the way that we discovered how to make this was basically I was making bread, and then I didn't feel like making a loaf of bread, so I decided to just pan fry it. And when we pan fried it, it really reminded me of naan bread, and I was like, oh man, that's so cool. Yes, granted, I don't have like a tandoori oven or whatever, but it still works perfectly fine on my cast iron. So that's what we made, and then that's what we had for like breakfast, and it was just so good. We dipped it in some garlic oil. We made some garlic naan. Oh, we also had like a sweet version just to again as an experiment. It was just so good. So I really wanted to share this recipe. It's just so easy to make and it's so satisfying. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. You can use any oil you want.
That was longer than me, Mercy. Now I get to do the rest.
Okay, you're gonna have to make it nice and smooth, okay?
I get to do that. No, you don't know how. Yes, I do. Lift it up. Get all the oil from in here. Rub it all on.
Okay, now just put it down and then we're gonna cover it.
Yeah. Get into a round circle first.
And then cover it, Isaiah, with a red lid and then put it on the top. We have a little warm setting on our oven. That's what we're going to use, and it kind of speeds up the process for the proofing a little bit. You don't have to. You can definitely just proof this in the oven with just a light on, and that would work perfectly fine as long as it's nice and warm. So we're going to put that in and let it sit for about 30-45 minutes or so.
Ta-da! That's what you say,
why is
Mama.
that so,
Mama, you say ta-da! Ta-da!
Oh.
Ta-da! 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 Ta-da!
Moving on to our proteins, we have some tofu here. We're just using some extra firm tofu. Mercy is going to help us press the tofu to get it ready for roasting. We're going to tear these tofu pieces so that we can have some jagged edges just for improved crispiness on our tofu surface area. We're going to tear them onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. We're going to season it with some salt and some cumin, some coriander, any kind of curry seasonings. We like garam masala on here, some cardamom, some turmeric just for some added color. And we're going to mix it up really, really well. We're also going to drizzle it with a little bit of oil. Some grapeseed oil is what we chose, just for that extra crispiness whenever we roast it in the oven. We want to roast this tofu on high temperature, so I have it at about 425 convection oven, and we're going to leave it in for about 30-45 minutes.
Now it is time to make the most delicious part, which is the sauce. So I've got some canned, just diced tomatoes. You can definitely use crushed tomatoes. We also have some coconut milk just to make it extra creamy. Buttered chicken is usually filled with lots of butter and heavy cream, and so we're going to try to mimic that with a full fat coconut milk. And then we've got some tomato paste as well. Then we are on to our aromatics. So Mercy, you got some garlic. Let's do a little bit more. So we got some garlic, ginger, and I need some onions as well. So while Mercy is helping peel some garlic, I'm going to just chop up this onion. I would totally use shallots or shallots if I had some. We don't have any. So we're just going to use some yellow onion. Also, if you had some red onion, that would be nice too. Just to add some extra sweetness.
A shallot.
Shallot is like the small little...
onion-looking things.
Yeah, but it's like pink. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That's what burnt my mouth.
All right, let's start off with some oil. Any oil. I'm just using some coconut because I have like little bits of leftover coconut oil. In my pot, I have some coconut oil. I'm going to add some clove for some aromatic. So maybe like 2 or 3. It's very, very strong. That's just for the aromatic. So put that in. And then a star anise. We're going to toast this up. If you don't know what these spices are, we highly suggest that you give them a try. Just buy them at the grocery store and just smell them, play with them. It's really, really nice. We're going to put that in there. Okay.
What are we making?
We're just going to flavor the oil, Marty. So then Usually you would put some cinnamon sticks, but I'm just going to add a touch of cinnamon on the bottom. Alrighty, I know it's weird, but it's going to taste really, really good. Just trust me. We're going to toast this up. Now we're going to add the onions and the rest of the aromatics, like the ginger and garlic.
Oh.
I really think that toasting any spices and aromatics is a very important step when you're making things like curry. Toasting it really just brings out the flavors of every spice and adds that depth of flavor that you need in a curry. We're adding about half a can of this tomato paste, so that's about 2 tablespoons worth or so. We're going to put it directly into the onions and saute that as well. Let's go over the spices. We have about a spoonful of coriander, we have a spoonful of cumin, about half of that in garam masala. I forgot to add this, but you would add some cardamom, and about a half spoon of turmeric just for some color. We're going to add 2 cans of diced tomatoes. This is just regular unsalted diced tomatoes. So that's going in, and we're going to give it a good mix. We're going to simmer this on low-medium heat just until you see some small bubbles.
While Mercy is helping me with the sauce, we're just basically kind of stirring it and just watching it just so it doesn't burn. We're going to be cleaning up a little bit here, and we're going to be working on our naan bread. I'm actually going to chop up a bit more garlic just to make our garlic naan. Okay, so we're gonna continue to stop. So we're going to continue to simmer the sauce for about 20 minutes or so. Trey is making faces on the side. That's not funny. We're gonna put our garlic in here. We're gonna add a little bit of oil. You can use any neutral oil you like, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, olive oil if you want. And then now, I'm gonna take out our dough for our naan bread.
The tofu sat in for about 30-45 minutes or so. It's nice and crispy and golden brown from all the nice turmeric. And we're going to check up on the sauce really quick. And it looks beautiful simmering away.
Because the aromatics are a little bit chunky, I don't want to blend that up. So I'm just going to fish it out. So I've got my star anise, got my clove somewhere. And then we're going to blend this up.
There's still supposed to be 2 more. Oh, there's one.
Okay. Oh!
It's a big mess.
Oopsie, there was a big mess. I had to just clean up really quick.
So because I'm a little bit lazy and I don't want to bring out my big old blender and dirty a whole big blender, we're just going to hand blitz our sauce with the hand blender. And not everyone has, stop looking at me, babe. Not everyone has a high-powered blender or like a, what are those things called? Sitting blender. So we're just going to use a hand blender.
You can blend this up as smooth as you want or as little as you want for some extra chunkiness in there. We're going to do it about halfway, I'd say, just to break up some of the onion and tomato pieces. Then we're going to add some coconut milk. I have some full-fat coconut milk, 1.5 cans is what I used.
Now you could definitely use any type of protein. I'm going to use some tofu. Actually, I have tofu and chickpeas. I may as well just add both of them in here. Yeah, so just add them in.
Oopsie.
And then we're just going to simmer the sauce until our naan bread is ready to dip it in. It's going to be good.
Why are they called naan bread?
Because, I don't know, I'm not Indian. Got some chickpeas that we just made today. May as well just add a little bit in here. Now, the more that you simmer it, the thicker it's going to get a little bit. So we're going to put this, we're going to set this aside, and we're going to keep it on simmer while we work on the naan bread. Really, really simple. I also purposefully left our butter chicken not spicy just because of Mercy. We don't want her to not be able to enjoy it. We can spice it up for ourselves. Like Israel, I know he loves his spice, so we're probably going to spice it up later on. Okay, so on this side, let's put a skillet on here, Mercy. So we took out our dough. This is really just our normal bread dough.
Hey, I wanted to show
Oh,
her.
sorry. She wanted to punch it down. So let's just get it down. We're gonna oil our board a little bit here. This actually creates a little bit of like flakiness. And so I'm gonna show you, we're just going to take like a little piece of like a dough ball. You can do this many ways. Now I've done it where we would roll it out. We're going to roll it into like a spiral like this, kind of like a spring onion inspired pancake, but you don't have to. You can just make it round and flatten it out. So I have a little piece here that I'm going to take to the skillet.
We added some grapeseed oil down just a little bit. You can use a brush if you want to. I'm just gonna roll it onto our pan here just to spread. And then we have our first piece of naan. Now the first one is basically like making pancakes. It never turns out right.
So growing up, I lived in Southeast Asia, Singapore mainly, but I traveled a lot. Like I went to Malaysia and we ate. I'm not sure for those of you who have been to Singapore or live in Singapore even, or Malaysia, you know our roti prata is one of the best ever. So initially I really wanted to make a roti prata, but it takes a lot of skill and finesse and a lot of like oil and just a little extra step to make it flaky. So we ended up making this, which is just like a thick naan bread, and it turned out really good too. So this is just giving me like a nostalgic feel of eating roti prata on the street in Singapore. But yeah, today we're just making regular naan. And you can make these as thick as you want or as thin as you want or as big as you want. If you have a tandoori oven, that would be great too, but it works fine on the skillet.
While I'm working on frying all of our naan bread, Mercy is going to continue to make and roll out our dough balls. Now, making the first one, it was way too thin, so if you want a nice fluffy bread, I would suggest rolling it out a little bit thicker. That way the yeast, when it hits the pan, the hot pan, it's going to actually activate and it's going to fluff up a little bit. As you can see the little bubbles in there, this is a thicker bread that we made, and then the little puffiness and the bubbles works perfectly and it makes it nice and fluffy. We continued to make as many as we could out of the dough, and you could see how poofy and fluffy it gets. This bread is seriously so good. Just trust us to make this.
Very simple just to make our garlic naan. We're just going to brush this oil onto our naan bread. So let's just get some of this garlic. Do it all. Look at how fluffy and delicious these garlic naans are. Oh. Get some of that actual garlic on there as well, because that's where the flavor is. Now this is very decadent and very rich, so just keep that in mind. You know, you don't want to overeat. This is like, it's just one of those things where it's kind of like a treat, but it's just so good. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna do about half garlic, and maybe if anyone else wants it. And then let's serve up.
Look at how beautiful and gorgeous and creamy this curry looks. Isn't this just inviting you to have a bowl or what? If you're a fan of Indian food, oh, this is just perfect. We invite you to make this, watch this video, and have lunch or dinner with us. Serve yourself up a bowl with that naan on the side, and come and break bread with us, literally.
What do you think?
It's like a sweet and sour garlicky bread.
Is it good? Is that
Yes.
curry good?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Mmm.
So, why is it called butter chicken?
Because it's buttery chicken.
So they put butter in it. Mmm. This bread is so fluffy. That sauce is just the perfect, like, oh, that perfect creamy curry. We highly, highly suggest that you make this. It's nice and rich. It was so easy to make too. The naan, granted the naan took a little bit, but if you were just making it for like a couple people, it's not a big deal. We just have a larger family, so it looked like we made a ton, which actually we did. But we're feeding a ton of people.
Good.
So good. Whew. This is actually very filling. It's so good though. I added some cayenne pepper in here just because I really, really love the spice. The tofu added an extra little bit of a meatiness to it. Oh. Check out that creamy sauce. It's just irresistible. It's just so good. It's so flavorful. The bread is like the perfect vessel to dip into this sauce. It's so fluffy. There's a little bit of tanginess with this sauce. It's like, it's a tomatoey based curry. It's so creamy and just good. Huh. They're so good. We're gonna finish eating lunch. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this kitchen. Like and subscribe if you're new. Hope that you give this recipe a try. It is so flavorful and it will make your week or your weekend whenever you're making this. Enjoy this. We will see you on the next video. Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.